Hello, I'm Rover, and you're about to listen to a chapter of the audio version of my book, The Moongazers, a pirate queer adventure story. This is a 30-chapter series. Are you enjoying this project, and would you like to support me? You can do that by becoming a patron or buy me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee. Enjoy! Chapter 3. Frey. Layla and Deva row the oars of the small wooden boat that had been hanging on the back of the ship. Luckily, the sea has calmed a little, and so has my stomach. The closer we get to the cruise ship, the more evident its enormity becomes. It must be as tall as an apartment block. Our little boat, that just fits 6 people, feels like a small fish next to a shark. The sky is grey and it starts to drizzle as we approach the high rise. As we moor our boat, I look up and see only sky and a huge, rusty metal wall. We tie the boat to a series of protruding rungs that serve as a ladder. Deva and Layla turn around so we can confer with the 4 of us. "All right, people," Deva says decisively. "We're going up. The first possible entrance is about 70 meters high. From there, we split up and explore further." Deva looks at all of us one more time, but we don't reply. She searches through her bag and takes out 4 headlights. I accept the lamp she hands me with a surprise that doubles when I press the button and I find it working. Kathy watches me almost fall off my bench while she tries hers. Of all the crazy things I've seen here, this is the strangest. "Cool, right?" she says enthusiastically while she lets her light blink a couple of times. I laugh and nod. It's rare to find objects like these working. Usually, they need batteries or something to charge, and there isn't much of that stuff around anymore. I feel a surge of interest and curiosity. Had these people found a solution for the problems that have arisen after the Great Change? What else had they managed to get working? Kathy sits next to me on the bench. We haven't spoken a word on the boat ride. I would like to break this awkward silence, but I don't know how. "The weather is nice," or "What are your hobbies?" don't seem to be appropriate conversation starters in our circumstance. So I keep my trap shut, and so does she. The only sound we hear is the splashing of the waves. Layla grabs her things and prepares to take off. "Whoever gets there first," she winks at us while she pulls herself up and starts climbing. Deva checks the ropes to make sure the boat is tied down firmly, swings her bag over her shoulder, and follows Layla's steps. Kathy and I watch them climb the first 20 meters. The rungs are placed fairly closely to one another, about half a meter from the one to the next, so they quickly move up the ship's walls. "You or me?" I ask Kathy, who's looking up at the 2 clambering figures as well. Layla and Deva are clearly experienced climbers. They make it look easy, even though I know that a climb of this height isn't as easy as it seems. Kathy's face has turned greenish. She doesn't look very happy at the prospect of ascending this massive ship. I only understand her too well. The ship is rusty, large, and it is uncertain what or who we will meet up there. And once we're there, the only possible escape we'll have is to jump down into the deep end. Not exactly an inviting thing to do. I know what I'm talking about. I've had to do it before. Kathy picks up her bag and I hear her whisper quietly, "I can do this, and I will do this. I can do this, and I will do this." The boat beneath us heaves softly and a drizzle is slowly drenching us. I wonder in what order we'll start climbing the stairs. If they let me go last, I could just get away on the small rowing boat. But watching the water, I realize the stupidity of that idea. Kathy is getting ready to move up the ladder. Go on, I'm right behind you, I say quietly, but also with a hint of impatience. Sitting in the small boat on these waves is making my stomach churn again. I am hoping to feel a little bit more stable once I'm clinging to the big ship. Kathy looks at me briefly and begins her climb. She keeps whispering to herself as she puts her foot on the first rung. I wait a moment and then follow her rapidly. The rungs are no more than 3 centimeters of thick iron wire sticking out of the ship and have clearly seen better days. The once white paint has flaked off and they feel rusty, so that my hands take on a reddish color as they grip one rung after another. Luckily, I've never been afraid of heights. During my training days, I had to climb a lot, escaping through windows, balancing on walls, climbing up a tower. All things I'd picked up quickly. Climbing calms me down. My body takes over. The sea, the boat, everything but the next step disappears. And after every step, there is another one to take. No matter where the ladder ends, right now there is just me, my body, and this rusty ladder. I have no choice but to keep on going. Too bad I cannot keep up my speed. Kathy is not a fast climber, and all too soon I'm just a step behind her. Every once in a while, the wind carries her voice to me. I can do this, and I will do this. It is cold in the wind, and after about 30 meters, my hands start to hurt, as must hers. I hear Kathy wheezing and panting above me. The boat moves lightly, and I'm thankful it's not storming. It would have been much harder to hold on to the ladder with the wind blowing any harder than it does now. I look up, just in time to see Layla's legs disappear over the ship's railing. We start passing a lot more windows, but there is no light shining from them. There is nothing to be seen through the small window panes of the rooms where probably guests used to sleep. Kathy stops ahead of me and clings on the rung, pressing her body to the ship as close as she can. We have to hurry, I yell under her. I know we shouldn't make too much noise to avoid alerting anyone about our arrival, but at the rate we're moving up now, it might take a whole while longer before we get there. Kathy doesn't respond, and I see her look down, her body stiffening. I follow her gaze, even though this is something I've always told myself and others while climbing. Don't look down. And I understand why Kathy froze. The little boat below us has reduced to a tiny speck. The terrifying image of the roaring water mass below can only make you feel frail and insignificant. It feels like certain death. Suddenly, I hear a scream coming from the deck, followed by a loud bang and creaking, the sound of metal striking metal. My neck hairs stand up on end. Something has happened. I had expected the ship to be empty, but maybe that was wishful thinking. My body feels restless, hanging under Kathy. Kathy, too, has heard the noise, and I see her hand reach up for the next rung. Kathy, let's keep moving, I shout up. She takes another step, but then stays hanging on the rungs again. Kathy, can you still count till 100? I ask her. She needs distraction, but it takes a while for her to respond. At the moment, I'd like to just stay alive a little longer, Frey. Impatience fills my body, but there's nothing I can do as long as she keeps hanging there motionlessly. Just start counting and climb up. From now on, we can't go back. Kathy tries to take another step and desperately starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She starts climbing again and keeps the rhythmic pace. but through the wind I can hear less and less of her. We're about 10 meters away from the railing when I hear the scraping noise again. A nasty, ghastly sound, as if hell itself were rasping its throat. Maybe it's simply one of the ship's sounds? But that scream, that can only have come from Layla or Deva. I'm still one rung behind Kathy, who has picked up speed, and her mantra again. I can do this, and I will do this. I can do this, and I will do this. It's just taking her too long to do it. Deva and Layla have been there for a considerable time now, and I haven't seen their heads since they climbed over the railing. My body cannot linger in this not knowing. Something is happening, and I need to be there. Kathy, I yell. I'm moving past you. I need to get to Layla and Deva. I turn 1/4, grab the rung Kathy is hanging on from the side, and pull myself up. The rung bends a little, clearly protesting under the weight of 2 people. It is dangerous but possible. With my head next to her, I look at her. Strange. Confident Kathy, who threatened to throw me in the water, now looks so vulnerable. Her life hanging from a lump of rusty iron. She is suffering. She is too weak for this mission. How irresponsible of Deva to take her along. And I whisper to her, don't cross the railing until I tell you it's safe. I take another step and concentrate on the last part of my climb. I try to prepare myself for what I will find up there. 2 dead women? Would they have slipped and fallen? Or is there something or someone on board this ship? These days, in many cities, you'll find abandoned buildings, abandoned shops, abandoned schools, and abandoned malls. They're good places to find things, but sometimes they aren't as abandoned as they seem. Sometimes you're welcomed into a homely co-living space, and sometimes you get shot at. Sometimes the only way to find out how safe a place is to ask someone living around there. But that's not an option right now. I hear another thump and quicken my pace until the railing finally gets into view. Carefully, I keep my body below the railing. Only when I don't hear anything, I move up 1 more step and look over onto the deck. Slowly, I scan my environment. I cannot see Deva or Layla, even though we had agreed to wait for each other. The deck has a rusty floor. This is not the top deck of a mezzanine floor. A between deck with an entire set of faded, moldy beds that people probably used to sunbathe on. They're now scattered everywhere. Some are positioned against an iron wall with doors and windows in it. That must be the entrance to the ship itself. From there on, it must be possible to get to the other floors. The coast seems clear, so I swing my leg across the railing and my foot touches the deck. It's still raining softly, but the deck doesn't feel slippery. The flaky paint and the rusty iron underneath lend my feet a decent grip. I look for cover as fast as I can. I'm on guard. Still, Layla and Deva are nowhere in sight. Noiselessly, and staying as concealed as possible, I make my way across the deck to see if I can make out any movements. But all I can see is the long, sloppy row of lopsided broken chairs. I get a sinister feeling, as if we've disturbed the ship in its sleep, and now it's eyeing my every move. There's much to say about the times we live in, but a lot of abandoned places are creepy, and there's just no getting used to it. I look over the railing and see Kathy just below it. Come on, I whisper, as loud as I dare. She throws herself over the railing and sinks to the floor immediately. The rain has plastered her wispy hair flat to her head. Panting, she rustles a bottle of water out of her bag and takes a gulp. She looks at me and offers the bottle. I refuse. This is not the moment to take a rest. Kathy gets up and looks around. Suddenly, she opens her mouth wide. "Layla!" she yells loudly. I dash toward her and clamp her mouth shut. "You idiot!" I whisper ferociously. I grab her hand and pull her towards a slightly dark corner hidden against the wall underneath an overhang, as I hear a door underneath us open loudly. The wall we're standing against shakes and squeaks. "Shh," I say, as I slowly take my hand off Kathy's mouth. I take my knives off my back, ready to punch a hole into an enemy, but it turns quiet again. "We have to go find them," Kathy whispers, looking determined. Apparently, she has found her courage again. I must admit, we're not going to find them by staying put, so we'll have to get into the ship. We pull open the door closest to us and find a fancy-looking staircase. Our feet sink softly into a carpet, and as the only light comes from a couple of dusty little windows, our eyes struggle to adjust. Kathy starts fumbling in her bag, and before I know it, a light is shining from her hand. I step up to her and dim the light immediately. A small sound of exasperation escapes me. Kathy clearly has never sneaked up to anyone before. Switching on the lamp on this ship is like shouting out loud, "Hello, here we are, come murder us, now please, we're stupid idiots." All the short burst of light does is force my eyes to readjust to the darkness again. I take Kathy's hand and start walking with her. She tears her hand away, but follows me. The good thing about carpet is that no one can hear you coming. The bad thing about the carpet is that you can hear no one coming. It smells like the carpet has been rained on and dried up several times. The smell of mold is fixed with that of metal, rust and boat, and something else I can't identify exactly. There are stairs going up and down. We have taken our first steps, heading upward. The staircase ends at the first floor above the deck. On our right, a big double door appears. On our left, we could continue our way upward. We take a few steps towards and swing open the door. The door, with lovely old wood on the outside and broken glass on the inside, has seen better days. We arrive in a large hall where we feel a breeze. This is no surprise, as a gaping hole in the wall lets us look out directly at the sea. We explore the room carefully. Deva and Layla could be here. A thrill enters my body. I might be a sulky person who hates the sea, but this is a mission. And even if this is the bleakest place I've ever been, this is what I'm good at. Suddenly, we hear loud noises coming from above us. Footsteps followed by a bang, as if someone fell to the floor heavily. I look at Kathy quickly and point at the door that we come through. We quicken our pace, but keep moving carefully. Not too fast to make any noise, not so slow as to lose any time. Kathy runs after me, and luckily, as we move up the stairs, the thick carpet muffles our rapid footsteps. I clutch a dagger as I listen closely to where the noise came from, ready to seize whoever is there. My fear is a shadow, allowed to be, but not to lead. On the next floor, we reach another set of glass doors. These ones with the rusty word casino written above it in large letters. The room in front of us is full of dusty slot machines and tables for all kinds of games. We open the door quietly and try to sneak in without making a sound. I attempt to orientate myself, but the many rows of playing machines cluttering the place give me a hard time. Lesson 1 in defense and fighting. Understand the terrain. We walk towards a cluster of billiard tables, casting glances in all directions, in between dull, red and golden fruit machines. I focus on my senses, until suddenly I hear a muffled footstep to the right of us. I push Kathy, who is right next to me, to the side, turn around and throw my knife with razor-sharp precision into the eye of a rather tall man who clearly thought he was just going to sneak up on us. He falls to the floor and screams loudly, drowning out the sound of more footsteps coming from the aisle on my other side. But the carpet and the screams cannot muffle the man's heavy steps completely. He runs towards me, and when he lunges at my body, I slip underneath his arm, push him forward and give him a kick from behind. He does not go down, but he has lost his balance. Kathy gets up and without hesitating a moment breaks her glass water bottle on his head. The man falls to the ground and it takes me only a few quick strides to get next to him. With a rapid hand move, I plunge a dagger between his ribs. I get up again and my eyes find the other man on the floor, who has my throwing blade sticking out of his eye. Had the knife sunk in a little deeper, he would have died instantly. As it is, I walk toward him, grab another dagger from my thigh and cut his throat. Blood spills deep into the carpet. We continue walking and find Layla and Deva tied against the bar. As Kathy runs ahead to free them all, I stay on high alert. I go back to find the two men and snatch my knife from the tall, bald one. He looks thin and filthy. He could have used a bath. Blood is still dripping from his neck, and I leave him quickly so as not to spoil the only clothes I have. It is a rather gross business. Killing. On my way to the three women, I pass the other man, who is wearing a blue shirt and a cap. He lies face down on the ground, and blood is trickling from his head, my dagger pointing out of his back. I feel his pulse and watch his chest. Dead. Had I not killed him immediately, we might have interrogated him. But now I have absolutely no idea what these men were doing here, and whether there are more of them. Stupid. Deva and Layla are back on their feet again. The dead slot machines, grim and moldy as they are watching us, observing the scene. Are there more? I whisper. Not that I've seen or heard, says Deva. They thought we were stupid, but there's no one else on the ship itself. I nod briefly. In abandoned places like this, it's unlikely there would be more than just two people. You wouldn't go out exploring a ship in a pair in case something went wrong. You'd be on your own. What happened? I ask in a hushed voice. Well, Layla starts. They were waiting for us in the staircase, the two of them. We had wanted to wait for you. She looks at us guiltily. But we got carried away and well, apparently they had seen us climbing up, and when we got here, in the dark, they grabbed us. Who knows who else is out there? We decide to go back to the deck, where at least we'll be able to see potential enemies approaching more easily. Deva passes around a bottle of water that we all drink from. Frey, are they dead? Deva asks as we walk past the men. Yes, I answer surprisedly. I wouldn't have left them lying around there had they still been alive. We go back to where we entered the ship to signal to the Wyckoff. On the way, Deva tells us the men had been waiting for their bodies, and that they had been left behind to guard the ship. Without being explicit, they had repeatedly expressed their satisfaction at having two women to keep them company while they were waiting. She says the men had kept arguing about whether to come for us, but they didn't want to leave the two other women behind in case they weren't so innocent as they looked. I look at her and show my surprise. How do you know all that? Deva chuckles. Once you start chattering with them in a language they don't get, they always assume you don't understand anything. Smart thinking, I have to admit. When we arrive at the deck, we make a new plan. It appears that except for those two creeps, there aren't other people on board. The rain is still dripping on the iron, and every once in a while, the ship makes that rasping noise again. But other than that, there are no signs of life. Deva takes a large red cloth from her bag and hangs it over the railing for the Wyckoff to see.